Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4 for 26 or the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 silly guys, diversified and educated.
What's good, War Room family? You are once again live in that War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McMillan. I'm at the round table with the General, Singular. Got Jimmy the Blueprint in the building. What up, Jim? What's the deal, yo?
What's up, cuz? How you?
I'm good, man. It's been I don't know. It seemed like a long week, but then when you think about it from another perspective, it seems like a short week, man. The boy B. Austin's off, closing multi-million-dollar real estate deals. So shout out to him. The NBA finals are done. It's NBA draft time. We'll discuss the big NBA news of the week that has led us to this pivotal moment for several teams. So we'll discuss all of this along with everything else happening in the world of sports. So keep it locked right here with your homies for the next 2. And we'll get you in on the conversation. All you got to do if you want to get in on the conversation is to join the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room. Or you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 5 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. You can give us your thoughts about everything going on in the NBA, the big trade, the little trade, shout out to Conley Jr., the NBA draft and what your thoughts are of the prospects that are going to walk across that stage tonight. Everything. So just hit us. 234100012 again. Before we get started, make sure that during the week when we're not live on the air that you check out archive episodes of our show on our own network at warroomsports.com, the War Room Sports mobile app, iTunes, TuneIn, and wherever you listen to podcasts, we're most likely to be there. But when you're on the network, make sure you check out some of the other great shows on the network, man. Shout out to Roy and Chris of the Broad Street Line, Vod and Phil Maddock of Tissue and the Tape for all you hip-hop heads. After Further Review, the Sideline Pass. It's a whole lot going on, man. The network is back up and in effect, and we need you guys to check it out. So shout out to all of those guys. What up, Jim? What has there been a old Shilsnit moment of the week? Because the times that we live in, there's always one, but I couldn't think of it, before we got on the air. I couldn't think of what the moment of this week was. Sports or non-sports. Like Trump didn't do nothing this week?
In 19. Yo, he did, but it's like stuff happened so fast in 19, man, that it's crazy, man. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I'm like, we were talking about setting a meeting up in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, the whole world might be changed by then, dog. Stuff happened so fast.
Especially if you're trying to do some business, crazy, the whole parameters of that industry might be different in 3 to 4 weeks. Y'all got to get that going now. Everything changes, man. It's crazy out here in these streets. But, Trump always does something. I guess nothing as big as usual, so we won't talk about him. I think we always open the show on something silly that Donald Trump did or said. But shout out to our regulars, our loyal regulars in the chat room. Shout out to Neil. Shout out to Skyview One. What's going on, everybody? Let's get it in. It's time for some hot topics, and hot topics are brought to you by MyBookie. As we usually do, let's take a minute out of our time to tell you guys how much cash you can make betting on sports events at MyBookie. The NBA draft is tonight, and we have nightly MLB action. So if you still haven't had a chance to check out MyBookie, man, it's still there and it's still waiting for you. You can lay down some dough on the biggest games in sports. Join the War Room and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. Or you can simply go to warroomsports.com and click on that on our sponsors tab or on our homepage at the bottom of the page. But if you guys are tired of getting the runaround from those other services when it's time to get your cash, try MyBookie. Because, from all accounts, you win, they pay you fast. None of that hassling and haggling. You're basically wasting your time betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting, so you can place wagers after the game starts. And if prop betting is your thing, look, if the NBA draft interests you, you can do that right now before the draft starts tonight. Now, my deposit up to $1,000. Just use the promo code WARROOM, all caps, WARROOM. That'll activate the offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. Play, win, and get paid. Nothing else to it. All right, the big news of the week in sports, of course, the trade between the New Orleans Pelicans and Jimmy, your Los Angeles Lakers. The deal for Anthony Davis, the Brow, has finally been, I'm not going to say consummated because we're at that part of the off season where you can make deals, but things, are not official until later dates. So when you heard that the deal finally went through and who they gave up for him, let me give that listing to everybody who's been living under a rock. The Lakers gave up Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, including the number 4 overall pick in tonight's draft. Jimmy, what did you think when you finally got it done? I know it's some other stuff that's happening now, but what did you think when you first heard it?
Man, I think about time. I'm just glad it's over because it was like the worst kept secret in the world for the longest time.
Yeah, because Clutch Sports, they don't allow you to keep secrets. Look, my man want to go here. We're gonna get him here.
Yeah,
let's do it.
They definitely
get
don't.
him here.
They definitely don't like. It's crazy
no
though
punches
because, like
pulled,
I said, it was
no
the worst
secrets.
kept secret of all time. But then it's like, all right, now that it's done, how does this fit into them moving forward? Because I think that the deal is it can work out for both teams depending upon how certain players turn out. Zion specifically.
What's up, everybody? We are back. I don't know what the hell was happening and radio land, but we had some technical difficulties. So as soon as my partner gets back with us, we're going to speed through this whole thing. We hate to have an episode like this because I pretty much thought we were going to have a great episode tonight. But the draft is about to begin, the NBA draft, that is, for everybody out there that's interested in watching that. And we're going to talk a little bit about some stuff that has been going on since you last heard from us, probably about an hour and 15 minutes ago. There's been plenty of breaking news in the NBA, and it's all, it all has something to do with the NBA draft. So let me find my breaking news. So there's been several trades since you heard us. The Atlanta Hawks have acquired the number 4 overall pick, Solomon Hill, and number 57 from the Pelicans for 4 draft picks. Also, Minnesota has acquired the number 6 pick in the draft from the Suns for former Sixer Dario Saric and the number 11 pick. So people are wheeling and dealing here on draft night. My partner Jimmy is back in the building with us. What's going on, Jim? I don't know what the hell went on with everything tonight, but we're going to speed through something for y'all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I was about to say, here we go. All right, so look, man, I filled everybody in on those 2 draft picks. Oh, I'm sorry, those 2 pre-draft trades. That's interesting. Let's speed through some of the stuff we wanted to talk about before, the technical difficulties, since we only have a little bit of time left in the show. And Jimmy, I guess you're just going to have to splice the show together and we can put together at least a 45-minute episode here. It's going to be a little choppy, people.
Yeah,
it's not our fault. We definitely going to finish this out for y'all, though, because we don't like missing Thursdays. We've about not missing a Thursday, in almost 10 years. So, I'm glad we can do a little something. All right, so we talked about the AD trade a little bit. I don't even know where we left off, but what happened with the trade was the Lakers made the trade a little too early, which means the deal, because they can't use the number 4 pick, which has been dealt again already. But I told you guys as soon as I got back on, they couldn't use that pick as salary because the pick hadn't been made yet. So if the Lakers would have made the deal a little bit later, they would have upwards of $32 million in salary cap space, enough to sign a third star on the free agent market, which they have plans to do. Now they're sitting somewhere around $27 million, and in the past couple of days, they've been trying to dump salary. But you only have 3. You only have like 6 people on the roster. You only have 3 people on the roster of any note, and that's Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and your boy Kuz. Like, how did they miss this, Jim? Like, how did that happen?
Rob Lowe has no experience in making
Rob.
deals. Yeah, Lionel Rob Lowe. And this is why you hire people that have experience instead of trying to hire someone within the family, so to speak.
Right.
Because this was just a stupid move. Like, this was just like, and David Griffin, not saying that he saw this and took advantage of it, but at the end of the day, he's like a hero right now. I just saw the boy trending on Twitter. You never see a GM trending on Twitter unless he allegedly puts his hands on security guards, which, free beside, because we hear that it ain't even true. But
shout out Majiri. Dude should have got out the way. I just want to check. Fuck out of here. But no, it's definitely a terrible oversight on the part of Rob Pelinka and his staff, because, for the first 24 hours or so of the trade, all we heard was praise. Like, all right, maybe Rob knew what he's doing anyway. But, the trade wasn't difficult to pull. New Orleans had been asking for the house, since the whole thing started. But this time, the New Orleans GM was serious about making the deal. So that part wasn't really hard, so I didn't really get why all the praise was going down. They gave up a lot to get him. But like Jimmy always tells people, hey, they got the best player in the trade. So if they could build something around those two, they'll have something. But the fact that you wanted to get another max player and you made this oversight just by making the trade too early. They could have waited till after the draft, consummated the draft on July 30th, and everything would have been right as far as salary cap that they needed. I personally think they don't need to go after a third max player. I think if they did have that money freed up, that they probably should have used that for a bunch of good mid-level guys for them to fill out their roster around their 2 superstars and maybe their third budding superstar in Kyle Kuzma.
And that's what you got to do. Like that's the way you got to build your team. I mean, we could just take a look at our current NBA champions, like how their team is built. I don't mean to change this up real quick, but these cats on this draft, this particular class, these some young looking, so young.
I know, right?
and I guess it's because a lot of them aren't, the last couple of years they all been wearing that same hairstyle with let their hair grow out and just get the temple fade and But these dudes don't have no beard. These some young looking cats for this draft. But anyway, yes, I agree with you. I wouldn't try to fill it out with a superstar anyway. You get some guys who are shooters, quality players. Throw a couple euros in there, and you good to like. So
no
and they're players that are available. There are players that are available that you can fill this roster up with.
Right, because if they went and spent Nicholas Claxton, is he related to Speedy? Shout out to him. If they did get this, somehow, I don't know how they're going to do it now because David Griffin had already flipped the 4th pick, even though the Lakers have been trying to call them back and get them back, to rework the deal. I guess David Griffin definitely was FOH, but even if they were somehow able to dump enough salary to get this money they wanted to offer a Kyrie or a Kawhi, it's like, okay, what are you going to run with? LeBron, Kemba, Kawhi, and, the D-League All-Stars? Like, fill the roster out.
you're gonna fill it out with a bunch of
route
veterans who are chip chasing, and you know, listen, man, cats want to play with LeBron, so there's gonna be a bunch of chip chasing cats that want to live in LA and take no money.
Mm-hmm. Rudy Gay or somebody gonna show up for like $26.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, we have minimal time left. We are sorry, people. We're not gonna be able to take any calls. I see some people on the line. We got about 20 minutes left. We're not gonna be able to take any calls. Your man, Melo Ball. Let's go to the Ball report because because of this trade, the Ball family has been back in the spotlight this week, and it's been kind of crazy. Melo goes on the ESPN just like the young fella a couple of weeks ago and announces that he's going to play in Australia instead of going to college, as if he had a choice. But Melo's going over to play in Australia, and he and his dad have eyes on him being the number one pick in the draft next season. You think that's possible?
I don't think number one, but I can see him being a lottery player. This dude is like 6'7" now, like a serious 6'7".
Right.
The one thing about him going and announcing is I saw him standing next to a couple of different pros that were in ESPN studio, and I'm like, oh, he legit 6'7", like he's 6'7", 6'7". Like
yeah.
And he has a skill set. I think it's interesting, the whole Australian move. And shout out to Australia because Sydney was beautiful. I just came back from there about a month ago, and I could see why somebody would want to live in Australia. Australia is one of the countries you get to and be like, oh, I could live outside our country. Yeah, Australia's lit. But the fact of the matter is, I was surprised this didn't happen more often. What was the brother's name from Compton? Was that the guard that did it a couple years ago? What's his name?
Damn, he was just on TMZ talking about Steph Curry wife. Him. Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings, yeah. When he did it, I was like, okay, he set the wave, and then it just didn't, happen a bunch. But he didn't even go to Australia, right.
So.
And that's the thing, because they're not even giving him the credit.
Have you Red Sleeve Row, Romeo Langford? You see the boy Red Sleeve Row? He out there.
I see.
And for those who don't know who Red Sleeve Row is, that's the boy I've been talking about for a long time in our group chat. Because I saw one high school game and he looked like Reggie Miller, and I was like, yo, this boy is nice. But anyway, back to Melo, the Ball report. I think it's interesting, and it's like players are starting to do different things, so I want to see what the response is. Or is this like a one-year thing? But we saw the brother last year go take an internship with New Balance, and I don't know how that worked out, but I haven't heard his name mentioned since.
Yeah. I'm about to say, is he about to be introduced? Because they're introducing everybody now. Like, is he going to be introduced? Either way, and this is something new too, or at least, or maybe I just don't watch it as part of the draft. Like when they start doing this. So Melo, I usually take everything Unc Var says with a grain of salt. Like LeVar is the type of dude, he'll say something wild and it don't really happen, and he'll still convince people somehow, some way that he called it, and people go with it and believe it. And either way, this doesn't totally not make sense to me, because as he was saying it, I had the FOH look on my face, but then he even though he exaggerated by an inch, he was like, man, how many teams are out there who are going to be willing to pass up on a 6'8" point guard that has an array of skills like this? And I'm like, wow, the game is trying to go that way. Like, it is a lot of big guards out here. It might be difficult to pass that up, and maybe he was, foreshadowing. He was looking into the future. Maybe he'll grow another inch by then. But if in that time period he is a 6'8" point guard and he's going over there and proved that, the stuff that we've seen from him isn't a fluke, I think it's going to be possible. And this is going to be one of those things that VAR is going to be able to throw in everybody's face. He's one of those dudes who's like, his predictions be like, he's like 1 for 26. But when he hit that one,
focus on that one.
He's going to let you know. He's going to keep letting you know. So that might be, I think it's possible.
Listen, he's no different than everybody on TV who's doing sports broadcasting these days. They do the same thing. They go 1 for whatever. They let you know about that one. So he's no different than them. So shout out to him for that.
Doubt.
But Yo, I got a theory watching this draft too, because you just said something like you never saw this part before. I think
Mhm.
yo on the low, like Vince McMahon, even when he did that whole XFL thing and just what he's done with WWE, has an impact on all of sports, because this whole idea
Showmanship.
of sports entertainment and showmanship, it's like yo, it comes from his playbook. NBA is like created fashion shows to the point where every game the walk-in is a piece. Now they're getting into the
Press
whole
conference.
entertainment piece. Yeah, all around the game. So the game is like the main thing, but there's so much show around it. That's the Vince McMahonization of sports, professional sports. I just made that up, but it's a theory I got.
We gotta run with that. Run with that. Put that in the War Room glossary for the next book.
Yeah,
Vince
he changed all the sports.
Of sports. We should just do a show about it this summer and make it the title of the show. Vince McMahonization.
Yeah.
I can't even say it, but it'll be the title.
McMahonization of sports. I really believe that.
Speaking of Uncle Var,
Yeah, get some. Yeah.
he has effectively, it seems like, been banned from ESPN because he was on a show last week. I forgot, I don't keep up with the name of them shows, but Molly Queerum was one of the hosts, Jalen Rose's wife, and she asked LeVar, he was talking to Stephen A. and his partner Max Kellerman, and they were talking about whatever they were talking about, and Molly Queerum cuts him off and says, LeVar, can I switch gears with you for a minute? And LeVar, in his best LeVar wanna be the Mac type voice, said, Molly, you can switch gears with me anytime you want. Then got the reaction from Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, and then tried to get his tone a little bit more serious, because I think he knew at that point how that sounded. It made a big hoopla, of course, on social media and throughout the sports world, and now people are claiming that LeVar Ball won't be invited back to anything ESPN related. And to me, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not a big deal because, they were using him anyway." And we've been saying that from the door. Like, people can't look away from train wrecks. That's why they put LeVar on TV, because they want him to be loud and they want him to, to do that kind of stuff for ratings. But at the same time, I think LeVar needs these type of companies even more than they need him, because a lot of people don't understand the marketing world and how expensive marketing is. And he gets so many millions of dollars worth of free marketing for his brand when he goes on ESPN, when he goes on Fox Sports 1 and TMZ, things like that. So I think that's a big hit to him. But do you think everybody overreacted? Everybody's talking about the Me Too era and what you can and cannot say, the PT world we live in. Do you think it was an overreaction to his comments?
I do. I don't. But here's the thing. So this is one of those things like much of life, which is in the gray area, because I see some people trying to just like absolve him of any guilt and try
like
to
he didn't even do it.
Yeah, and
he was
did,
offering
but he was trying to, but to me, he was trying to be funny though. I don't even think he meant it like
right.
in a
right. I mean, and he always is. He's always trying to be.
Yeah. So the thing is, but you can't. I guess like in this climate, you can't do that, and people have to understand the climate we're in. Listen, in the professional setting, I barely even want to. And I know this is going to come off completely like wrong. I don't care. Yo, I don't even want to speak to women no more in the workplace. And like, yeah. but what I mean by that is like of course you have to. You have to work with people and you deal with people and you treat people with respect. But it's like it's a crazy climate we're in, man. So I just rather keep to myself and send me an email. I tell you, we can communicate via email, because I don't even want the appearance of anything. But we're just in a weird climate. You know what I'm saying? And I know that came off all wrong. It sounded crazy.
Compliments and rape. Like, come on, yo.
Yo, and I know. Listen, like I was in a room the other day. And a young lady walked in. The guy said, "Hey, you look nice today." I was walked out like I don't want no problems. Like, and all he did was tell me she looked nice today.
I don't want to be an accomplice.
Yeah, I just walked out like I just walked out. But all But it's crazy because like there's nothing wrong with telling someone, hey, you know, you look nice today. Like, but at the end of the day, in 2019, it's not about what you say; it's about how people receive it. You can't tell someone how to receive something. So let's just talk via email.
And
man. Like,
let's keep it all the way 100. Some people have realized, you know, how they can use certain things. You might just not like a dude. Like, I can't stand that dude. He say something wrong, you're gonna act like you received it a certain way, and that dude is in trouble. So it's definitely a slippery slope, a thin line between, you know, just honest complimenting and admiration versus the wrong thing. So it's very dangerous times that we're living in.
Yeah.
So
and for those out there who listen, like, no, I didn't mean any disrespect by that. I'm just saying, like, we're living in crazy times, man, and you just have to be very careful.
Yeah, and to Jimmy's point, I definitely agree. Before we move on, I agree that it was overblown. Like he said, you know, it's more context to it because we've been in different conversations all week where some people think he wasn't even saying anything suggestive or inappropriate. Like I said, I definitely think he was jokingly offering her the sausage, but I also think the backlash behind it went a little too far. Let him handle that with Jalen, and let's move on. That's how we handled it back in the day. All right, so the quote of the week, sticking with the Ball family, was from the Anthony Davis trade that involved Lonzo Ball. And LeVar said, I guarantee it'll be the worst move the Lakers ever did in their life. And I'm really quoting. And they'll never win another championship. Guaranteed they're going to regret it. Now, that just VAR bloviating again because, you know, that kind of sounds like some, what's the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers? Sounds like when LeBron left. We'll win the championship before LeBron.
Gilbert.
And then, you know, y'all didn't get that chip until LeBron came back to save y'all a second time. But, yeah, he kind of sounds like Dan Gilbert with that comment. It's hard to say that when a team has LeBron James and Anthony Davis on it. Might be a little difficult for them to put the right pieces around them with the money that they have left. But it's very difficult to make an adamant statement like that just because you're mad. You put any stock in it? Did VAR just put the root on you?
VAR, he's just talking. He's just talking. Like, come on, cuz. FOH, man.
Right.
Like, you can't just make declarative statements like that. That's what gets traction. That's what gets clicks. That's what gets the views. So it's not shocking.
That's talking about it. as our quote.
Yo, everybody trying to replicate that you know, the jaunt that the Toronto got with their fans outside. That's a new wave now. Huh? Everybody gonna have one.
Yeah, and we got a couple bars for Toronto's fans coming up too. Toronto's fans on a whole new level, but they ain't throw no snowballs at Santa Claus, so it didn't matter. Speaking of Toronto, quick stat of the week: Kawhi Leonard with 742 points this postseason finished third all time in scoring for an entire postseason. The two people ahead of him, LeBron James in 2018 with 748 points, Michael Jordan in 1993 when they faced off against the Phoenix Suns in the finals with 759 points. He averaged 41 points a game in that 6-game finals. He surpassed Hakeem Olajuwon in 1995. He had 725 points. So that's the stat of the week. Y'all know the drill. We don't really have to go over it. Anything you want to do with War Room Sports, check us out at warroomsports.com. Let's get into some quick topics while you guys were on the grind this week. And this is, you know, the segment where, like I said, we got a couple of bars for these Toronto fans. And while you're on the grind, as usual, brought to you by Sports the Book. Check Sports the Book out at warroomsports.com or sportsthebook.com. Don't miss that movement. Read a real book. Planters, not Planters Sports, not Planters Sports Apparel, but Planters, the peanut company. They dropped some sneakers recently. They got some sneakers, look like ball sneakers that are called Crunch Force Ones. You copping?
I'm cool, dog.
Yo,
I'm cool.
not even that they're planners, man, but when you look at them, yo, and if you haven't seen them, go to our Facebook page. We posted it. Yo, they look like you would expect them to look, like some Trizzy.
My thing
and
is,
they trying to,
I think
like 125 is the price point, Jim.
I think plantar fasciitis. Your plantars is too close to plantar fasciitis, so.
Oh, and I undersold it. It's $170, and they're only available until 6 p.m. on June 21st. And the shoes will take 6 weeks for delivery. This sounds a lot like Big Baller Brand to me. But shout out to Planet for trying. Then they're gonna tell you like you can only get them until 6 p.m. June 21st. Like there's gonna be a rush for some peanut shoes. Like, come on, son.
Yo, somebody need to get my man Zion a bevel razor, man.
Yeah, he got some bumps. He look like he scratched his neck the wrong way. There's gonna be blood all over his suit tonight. He hate me. Remember the boy Rod Smart? He hate me from the XFL.
Yeah, speaking of Vince McMahon.
Right. For some reason, this boy was missing for 6 days, and then the police found him. But as far as I know, and everything that I read, they're just saying Rod Smart has been found and is safe. But they're not saying why he was missing, where he was, what he was doing. So that's when you start to worry about somebody, when even the media and the police are keeping secrets on whatever just happened to you. Something really wrong must be happening to this brother.
Yeah.
From back in the day, but we just wanted to mention that. He hate me is now he found me. So shout out to him for being found. We talked last week about David Ortiz getting lined up down in the Dominican Republic. The newest place to go for a killer vacation. At the Raptors championship parade, 4 people were shot. 3 arrests have been made. And I don't know why this type of stuff is going on. I mean, first we had to talk about their fans and how corny they were for lining up at quote-unquote Jurassic Park like 2 days before each game. Then we talked about how they cheered when Kevin Durant was laying on the ground holding his Achilles tendon. And now they out here lining people up at the parade. And, you know, this is supposed to be a classy fan base, and we're all supposed to be happy for them for getting the first championship in the NBA in a different country and all of that kind of stuff. Yo, what's up with them? And why do we hear these stories and then they just go away until we bring them up again? And you know why we bring them up? Because we Philly fans. So we got to bring them up. Because this type of stuff happens everywhere. Like people at Dodger Stadium, Dodgers and Giants fans, out there lining each other up, out there beating each other to a bloody pulp, to almost death, like beating CTE into people. You got these dudes out here shoot people. You got other people getting thrown off of the stands. But if you throw a snowball at Santa Claus.
Yeah, but because it's just, at this point, it's just like legend.
It's legend.
Or it's just a matter of timing, right? So now we're like desensitized. We're desensitized to like assaults or I mean people getting hurt. Yo, why is Zion crying like that? We're desensitized. You see the ball?
We're desensitized, and the news cycle moves so fast. You know what I mean? Yeah. The news cycle moves so fast. Nobody cares about.
Like,
I ain't drunk.
Yo, Zion is funeral crying like. Yo, I don't know what he's thinking about. He might be thinking about some of them fobs he got to leave behind. But anyway, so it's a matter of timing. It's the legend, the aura. Like if we'd committed our assaults now, we could have got away with a lot more. But the fact of the matter is, back we were just early. We were early to it. We laid the beats down too early, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Now nobody can forget about it because back then the news cycle would just roll out. All right, so like I said, it's a. We only got a little bit of time to talk about everything. We would have gone into more detail, crapping on Raptors fans, but we can't do that right now. In L.A., less than 24 hours after the trade had been announced, there's already an Anthony Davis mural up somewhere in the city. What's up with that, Jim? What's up with the thirst of Laker Nation right now, man?
Yo, first of all, in the words of Andre 3000, man, it's like when 16 ain't enough. But also it's just
right.
it's another sign of the times we're in, man. Everything is for attention, so it's like, yo, but that's the world we live in. We live in a world of de-eaters, like, and people want to draw attention to themselves.
Or you hate it. It's not much in between.
Yeah, they're probably doing a Zion mural right now in New Orleans. Now, people say that's different because LA already has a lot of success. But the thing is, everybody tries to outdo each other. It's all about attention. Attention is actually a currency in 2019. So
mural, they're probably trying to find a way to
everything is.
They probably trying to find a way to like shift the ozone layer so you can see Zion's picture in the clouds. But
no, man, it's the Vince McMahonization of everything, man. Like Vince was early on to the thing. Like it's like I'm a draw and get attention. But now attention in 2019 is a currency, man. Yeah,
it's crazy. It is crazy. And some quick birthday shout outs before we move on and get the rest of this hoop stuff out of the way. In the last 10 minutes we got here, birthday shout outs. Darko Milicic, my dude, turns 34. Josh Childress, cornball dude, turns 36. Darren Sproles, another one of my guys, he's 36. LeVar Arrington, he burned a whole lot of people on this sports bar in D.C. He turns 41. Carlos Lee is 43. Juan Castro is 47. And Rodney Rogers, the GOAT, who often gets compared to the number one pick who just went, Zion Williamson, is 48 years old. So shout out to all those people on their birthday. Ja Morant has been selected with the number 2 pick for the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's get it, Ja. That's crazy, though, because even though he was good, he's still a name that a lot of people didn't hear about until the NCAA tournament. And then look how quick, look how far up he's risen. At least for the people that didn't know his name before.
First time I heard about Ja Morant was literally from like Scottie Pippen before he even got into college.
Yeah,
Scottie Pippen was on TV talking about he had saw him play in high school and he was like, "Yo, I saw the next Russell Westbrook." And of course, because he's Scottie Pippen, and a lot of ex-players do this. He's like, he remind me of myself. Like, come on, cuz. He remind me of myself.
Speaking of the comparisons and reminders, I'm glad they took Jalen Rose off the draft. He had the worst player comparisons I've ever seen.
I think he tried.
They're doing it with
Chauncey.
Like they're letting Chauncey do that now.
Yeah. I saw Chauncey compare Zion to Charles Barkley. He said Charles Barkley or Julius Randle. I'm like, okay, that's a huge
and Ja Morant
between those two.
Comparing him to De'Aaron Fox. So far, Chauncey makes a whole lot more sense than Jalen, because Jalen would have compared Zion to like Muggsy Bogues or somebody. I
think he was trying to be too elaborate with it. He said like find off-brand players. Like he's like, I'm not gonna hit you with the famous dudes.
Like he's like,
you know what I'm saying?
Cole.
Like he'd be like, Zion is like Clarence Weatherspoon.
That actually would have been a good comparison, but if he, he's just Spoon.
Cedric Sabalas, he just like made up something. Like he tried to show his his knowledge of older players, but he would draw.
Remember, on draft day, Spoon was the next Barkley, and that didn't work out.
Yeah.
He had ridiculous.
He got cheated. He got cheated in the dunk contest though.
And he used to get his shots beat up. I don't know why somebody who jumped so high get their shots beat as much as he did. All right, but anyway, man, a little bit of NBA rap before we get up out of here. We got like 6 minutes of NBA rap for y'all. Like I said, we will be live reporting the draft as the picks go by. We'll let you guys know if you don't happen to be watching the draft live with us. So the NBA rap, of course, is brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. If you need a custom website, make sure you hit up Digital Extreme Technologies. Their number is 267-205-4203, or you can hit them on the website, digitalextremetech.com. But if you want those discounted rates, be sure to tell them that the homies over at War Room Sports sent you. Curtis Blow, do your thing. All right, Curtis Blow, shut up. All right, man. After all the stuff that's going on this week, we've also heard some news that CP3 and James Harden might have some beef, even though Chris Paul has gone on social media to refute the claim, saying it's the first that he's heard of it. I haven't really heard much from James Harden saying, nah, wait. So I'm hearing.
The funniest thing that come out of this to me was your man Skip Bayless believing a fake story that somebody on Twitter made up, and he went on his show and reported it as news. Did you see that?
It didn't even sound right, man. What did it say?
It said that CP3 was in the locker room talking about his man boobs.
And he left crying. Like but that shows you.
But he
man,
reported it as news though.
From Twitter, and they're going to repeating this stuff on the show that millions of people watch per day. Jokes on
hilarious.
And a joke though. So yeah, to me, it's like, all right, as far as playing is concerned, like I would believe that any guard playing with James Harden, any player playing with James Harden would find a way to have beef with James Harden just because of the way he plays, the way his coach allows him to play. Like, it's difficult to be somebody else on the team that's considered to be a superstar when you're playing with him and he's down here patting the ball all day, every day, and you just got to stand off to the side and watch him do his thing. And, you've had a career just as good, if not better than his. I can see that. The Knicks take R.J. Barrett with that third pick. So the top three is gone.
Before, like we figured. Did you see at the bottom of the screen what it said the Knicks needs?
No,
it says like needs. A lot of times it'll say like a guard or a forward. Under the Knicks, it said Knicks needs everything. They need starters and a bench.
Yeah. And of course, the first person they show before they even show Barrett is Spike Lee. Like he knows anything about basketball because he likes Dick. He likes Zach.
Paul. Greatest pause ever, yo. Greatest pause ever.
Great. So yeah, man, this CP James Harden thing to me is not hard to believe. Knowing what happens in the media though, I can also believe that it's being, as they say in DC, sized up. They might be sizing it a little bit, hyping it, putting some extra sauce on it. So we'll see, because they're saying that Chris Paul wants out. They're saying James Harden went to management and said it's either him or me. Chris Paul's refuting it, but if somebody leaves in the next couple of weeks, then we're going to know that there might have been something to this story. Mike Conley has been traded. The Grizzlies, they got rid of him and made room for Ja Morant, who they just took with the number 2 pick. And they finally got probably the worst contract in NBA history off of their books. I don't say that saying that Mike Conley is a bum, because he's not a bum. But there's no way in Hades that Mike Conley should have ever, even if it was for a couple of days, been the highest paid player in NBA history. So he's been traded.
That's saying a lot considering some of the bad contracts. There's some bad contracts out there.
Yeah, some of the stuff your man Billy King did. With Billy King being in existence, it's hard to say that. But he's been traded to the Jazz with Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, Jay Crowder, the 23rd pick in tonight's draft, and a future first-round pick. So, they had to throw a lot at him to pretty much get it done, because he makes in excess of $30 million per year for somebody who, I don't know if Mike Conley's ever made an All-Star game, yeah. Not that that's the end-all be-all.
R.J. Barrett to Jalen Rose.
Did that because Jalen ain't here. He was taking a shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you get that kind of contract and you've never been to an All-Star game?
It's like we gotta pay somebody.
Yeah, it's not that he's never had any All-Star caliber work, but he's been in the West. He's been in the loaded West, so there was no way for him to make that game, and he still got broken off by the Grizzlies. What else happened before we get up out of here? Kawhi. Kawhi. Let's talk about Kawhi. Let's talk about, because the last time we talked to everybody, the finals were going on and only KD was hurt. Klay Thompson went down with a torn ACL. So what are the Warriors going to do? Where's Kawhi going to end up? Like, you got any answers to any of these questions, Jim? Like, stuff really got crazy in the NBA this week, and it started from Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Because the Warriors are essentially, they have two free agents that are looking for huge money, but neither one of them are going to play next season. You got the homie Kawhi, who just got the last laugh on everybody. Now, if he chooses to leave, like, what can Toronto say? I just bought you your first championship.
Man,
ever.
Nothing. You bought us money. All right, hold on. So RJ's breaking down with the same ton of John as Zion, and
yeah.
I know. I remember since day one, Dev. You always say how LeBron is orchestrated or calculated with everything he does. Yeah, I think I've already saw that this evening with Zion just in one night. Like they had the camera on Zion when RJ got drafted. You could read his lips. He's like, "That's my boy," and he's like clapping all hard. Like that was for the camera. Come on, man. These dudes, man. Anyway,
RJ,
but back to your point about
RJ
Kawhi,
on the low hating on Zion. Zion out here trying.
Yeah, because you were supposed to be number one. You know what I'm saying? Your goddaddy is Steve Nash. But listen though, getting back to your point about Kawhi, I feel like at this point Kawhi doesn't owe anybody anything. He came for 1 year, gave you a chip. So if he decides to leave, so be it. But it's interesting to see what he's going to do, because to me it will be very difficult to leave that situation. Like, you're the man in that country. Like, the pressure's not even on you. You can make a boatload of money and have like no pressure. And
they won the chip, and the East that was on the rise seems to be falling apart again. Boston's falling apart.
Exactly. So
we got two big free agents who might be rolling out the door. Milwaukee, everybody think they frauds now at this point anyway. Like, y'all could do it again, because if you get to the West,
unless you really gully,
the Warriors might be out of the
Clippers
next year.
Unless you really gully and you like, I'm going to the Clippers. I'm gonna take him to the chip and win the series MVP. Because if he wins MVP, and I know how you feel about the Finals MVP, but if he wins Finals MVP on 3 different teams, like, he gonna start getting GOAT talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people take what I say about that wrong, because it's one of them things, like you say, when you start feeling a certain way about players, it's because of the fans. It's not the honor. It's an honor to win that. Yeah. But it's not the end-all, be-all. But fans use that to compare players. Like, well, he got more Finals MVPs. I'm like, okay, Iggy got more Finals MVPs than Steph. Does that mean he better than Steph?
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way the fans use it. But we gotta get up out of here, everybody. We are very apologetic at the technical difficulties that left this a very condensed show. But we will be back with you guys next week for another episode of The War Room. Look, we appreciate everybody that tried to call in and everybody who was in the chat room sticking with us throughout the difficulties. But tune in next week, live right here on demand, as we catch you up on everything happening around the world of sports, and we'll have more time to do so. So until then, enjoy the draft, enjoy the weekend, enjoy next week until we see you on Thursday night. Be sure to catch our conversations on Facebook, Twitter, as well as our blogs, webcasts, and network podcasts on warroomsports.com. Also, be sure to pick up a copy of Jimmy's book, sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chumps on top.
Know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. warroomsports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push. in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip-hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Shot Back, the Austin. I'm shot. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.